For some people, this is difficult to admit that they're wrong, because when they grew up in a home where they were told every day what they did wrong, seldom ever told what they did right, in their mind, they said, if I ever get to be an adult, I'll never be wrong again. And they have difficulty saying the words, I was wrong. But for some people, this is their apology language. And if you don't admit that you were wrong, then in their mind, you have not apologized.
For more than a decade, Dr. Jennifer Thomas's books, speaking engagements, and resources have helped others get out of the doghouse and restore valuable relationships, bring heated arguments to a screeching halt, break through barriers and build respect, grow their businesses by apologizing the smart way, offer apologies that are fully accepted, and trade in tired excuses for honesty, trust, and joy. Dr. Thomas is the co-author with Gary Chapman of The 5 Apology Languages, The Secret to Healthy Relationships, which has been translated into 15 foreign languages and it's sold hundreds of thousands of copies around the world. Today's society requires that you know the essentials of successful apologies. Simply saying you're sorry is usually not enough. Dr. Jen helps people turn bad situations into good outcomes based on the 5 love languages and the 5 apology languages. This is the Counterculture Mom Show. I'm your host, Tina Griffin. Forgiveness is the topic of the hour, and to help us repair relationships, I'm with clinical psychologist Dr. Jennifer Thomas. Jennifer, how you doing this morning?
Doing well. Thanks, Tina. And thank you for shining a light on the important topic of forgiveness. We know that inevitably we're going to offend people as we go through life. And the challenge is to be able to offer apologies that are really going to land.
I love that. And my angle that I'm excited to hear about is when a person says sorry for about 300 times regarding the same topic, we got to dissect that beast. Are they really apologetic? What does the person do that's receiving that same message over and over again? That's what I hear around the globe. That's the current problem of the hour. So I'm very excited that you're here. I also know the unforgiveness part in our bodies has major health tolls. So there's a lot of benefits to know how to do this right. You're a motivational speaker. You specialize in the 5 love languages and communication, and you're a business consultant and psychologist. I got to dig into your brain. Very excited to have you on the program today. Girl, we live in an angry and divided world where people are often quick to demean one another. We see that happening time and time again. Families have split over politics. Forgiveness seems like a foreign concept. How does our culture begin to find its way back from this mess?
Yeah, we're going through culture wars and we're calling each other names. We're othering other people. And what we need to do is to move from having the political divides that we have to talking through concepts and sifting theories, but not sifting out whole groups of people. So we want to help people be able to show love and respect, even if they don't agree with us on political or other issues.
So you're trying to keep the peace, especially during holiday time. It'd probably be a great place for us to put this into practice, regardless of our everyday relationships. I'm really curious, how in the world did you get involved with this type of relationship career? Did you have a weird, wild home life, or did you have a really solid one where you're like, I want this to be in every house in America?
Well, I had a pretty calm home life, and then I went into psychology because I believe that it's the quality of our relationships in a lot of ways that determines the joy and satisfaction that we have in our lives and in serving others. And so I went into psychology sort of on a practical level in order to train myself how to have healthy relationships, and I wanted to be able to help other people with that as well.
So I'm throwing some curveballs in the mix right out of the gate here, but did you ever have really close relationships where you had people that didn't know how to apologize, didn't apologize, or apologized over and over again for the same things? And if so, what did you do to keep your hair?
Well, people often ask, where did you get the idea for this book? And it did come from my own marriage. But the funny thing is that it wasn't my concerns about my husband's apology. It was the opposite. He said that he didn't think I was apologizing very well. And there was a situation, a problem where I had said, I'm sorry, and was ready to move on. And that just wasn't enough for him. And so I got curious about what he needed to hear. And what we realized as we talked was that he wanted me to express that I was wrong. And to me, that was kind of a synonym. When I said I was sorry, I meant I was wrong. But to him, the two are very different. And so I made a note of it, and I got curious about what other things people might be waiting to hear when you're apologizing. And I pretty quickly realized that it's similar to the love languages in that we might be offering what we think is hitting the mark, but we're missing it with each other. And so I ended up reaching out to Gary Chapman, who also lives here in North Carolina. And so we both have funny Southern accents. And now we write and speak on the topic of the 5 apology languages, which is a concept or a term that we coined.
You just dropped a really big bomb. You probably don't realize it, but the thing that you just said is so golden, and you didn't get defensive for the most part. I mean, I'm not, flying your wall, but for right now, what you just expressed, you didn't get defensive and deny your husband's feelings. You dug in deeper, listened, researched, and now God gave you a phenomenal ministry reaching millions. That just gave me chills. That is phenomenal. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, when we marry people or, other relationships we have, they don't come with an instruction book. And so I've been trying to figure him out as we go. And I literally jotted it down. I thought, wow, we've been married 15 years. I didn't know this about you. And I will say my ego was a little hurt that he didn't think my apologies were very good. But what I figured out here more recently is that wasn't exactly his deeper concern. What I've noticed is a lot of times when we say, I'm sorry, we could just as easily say, thank you. If you think about it, I like gratitude for someone's helpful, caring, patient attitude. And so that's what I tend to offer is, thank you for being patient with me when I was running late is what I tend to say. But my husband says, he puts himself down and says, I'm sorry I was running late. I can't believe I did that again. It's more, not all the way to demeaning, but putting himself down. And then the listener ends up reassuring him. That's how he makes things right with people. And I just, we were all raised by different parents and different teachers. And in my family, there wasn't this kind of groveling that goes on. And so that was the difference at the core of the problem in our marriage. And so I've talked to him about that. He's going to feel like I don't apologize enough if that's what he's looking for me to do, when I tend to say, thank you, and I'm really grateful for your attitude.
Wow. I mean, such simple, profound statements you're making, but if you think about it, it goes really deep. That's just, there's like 15 more questions I got for you. All right, let's just start with question number 2 here. We talked a little bit about your phenomenal book. It's called The 5 Apology Languages. Can you give an example of each of these 5 apology languages?
Yeah, so Gary Chapman and I surveyed people and asked, when someone apologizes to you, what do you really want to hear? Or when you hear a bad apology, what's missing? And we looked to see their answers, and they fell into 5 categories. And we know he likes that number 5, but I promise we weren't looking for 5. And so I'll go through what those 5 are, and also a little framework that can help people to remember them. I like to think of them in the past, present, and future. So starting with the past, we have saying, I'm sorry first, which is expressing regret. And with this, you want to be very specific. And as you mentioned at the top of the program, you don't want to just say the same thing over and over. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry isn't going to work, because eventually we say, I don't want you to be sorry. I want you to be here on time, or I want you to get this thing fixed. So saying I'm sorry, but letting them know, don't say, well, I'm sorry for what happened. That's way too general. So an example would be saying, I'm sorry that I let you down. Talk about their emotions. I understand that you're disappointed and frustrated, and then specifically what you're sorry about that you did.
Okay, so I have to jump in there for 2 seconds. I think that is so key, because if you just say, I'm sorry I let you down, or I'm sorry you feel that way, that right there, don't get me started with that phrase, I'm sorry you feel that way, because it's just deflecting, as if the person that is needing the apology and rightfully should get that apology isn't receiving it, and it's their fault that they're wanting it. Because then it shifts the blame from the person that did wrong to the other person that they're needy, that they're asking for it or need it. It drives me crazy. I'm sorry you feel that way. Anybody that ever says that, let me tell you something, don't say it near me. It's not going to end well for either person.
Exactly.
You said some key things there on basically what the person needs to do is own the fact that what they did was wrong. That's what I'm hearing from that. Am I correct?
For this part, we're getting at the heart. So we're focusing on the emotions that we cause, the disappointment, the frustration. I'm caring for the feelings of the other person. And then it's closely tied to our next one. So that's a great lead in. Our second apology language is saying, I was wrong.
I was wrong.
This one, here we're going to fully accept responsibility. And you'll see as we go that these 5 build on each other, and a complete apology will include all 5.
Okay, I am dying to hear the next 3, but we're going to go to a short commercial break. We'll have everybody hanging here because they got to absorb the first 2 you just said. Some more with Jennifer right after the short, phenomenal commercial break here. Support our sponsors. More with you on the last 3 ways to apologize right after this.
The Jace case is a pack of 5 antibiotics. We put these antibiotics together very purposefully. They were curated in a way that covers the most common as well as the most deadly bacterial infections that you might encounter. In addition, it includes a guidebook to the safe use of the medications that is written in a way that's accessible for most people to be able to look up what their symptoms are and what the proper medication is to take. The idea behind the Jace case is to allow everyone to be better prepared medically, to be empowered to care for themselves.
Since the pandemic began, our healthcare industry has had to transform. From receiving medication to physician visits, everything changed. Jace Medical is dedicated to providing proper access to medications before you need them. This protects against issues during travel or disruptions with supply chains, natural disasters, and other emergency situations that have proven to overwhelm our healthcare system. Secure your own supply of medication with ease and peace of mind.
Use code TINA for a discount at jacemedical.com.
We have 4 principles. First Amendment, Second Amendment, right to life, military and first responders.
My name's Scott. I'm with Patriot Mobile. What is going on with all the woke companies in this country? It seems like everybody has completely lost their minds, right? No more. This is called voting with our dollars. We need to start prioritizing our beliefs and our values over convenience and comfort. And this is why companies like Patriot Mobile are so important right now.
If you have a place to go put your money, you always want to put it with somebody that's like-minded.
Of course.
I think that's the beauty of Patriot Mobile. We're a conservative alternative.
My pronouns are Bible believer, gun carrier, and mama bear. We are the nation's only Christian conservative wireless provider.
Switch today at patriotmobile.com. For free activation, use promo code TINA.
Who's not looking for an uncensored conservative Christian community that always points you back to the Bible? You have to check out the Rooted Truth Collective, everybody. They are a comprehensive Christian community offering biblical teaching, accountability, and an intentional space to learn and dig deep into God's Word. They're a tribe of like-minded individuals with a biblical worldview who use the Word of God to navigate the world we live in. Go to therootedtruth.com, therootedtruth.com, where you will find that their vision is to help you build your understanding and desire of God's Word while resting into who God has called you to be. Through their app, studies, devotions, podcasts, and resources, they will encourage you to let go of the daily hustle and dive deeper into your relationship with the Lord. TheRootedTruth.com, check it out, and make sure you get 10% off your first month using code TINA. Once again, 10% off, code TINA. Check out TheRootedTruth.com. Jennifer, you have me at the edge of my seat. You can't see it, but I am. You went through 2 apology languages. Can you go back once again for a review, the first 2, and then dissect the last 3 for us?
Yes. So the first 2 are talking about the past and the offense. First, you say, I'm sorry. You're expressing regret for the bad feelings that you've caused. And then the second one is accepting responsibility, letting them know that you understand that you were wrong in some way for what you did. It's important for your apology to stand on its own. So here you don't want to say, but And if you expect the other person to also accept responsibility, you should pause and make sure that your apology still stands, even if they don't go 50-50 with you on this apology. You need to be specific with it.
Yes. And I just want to say, men, I'm going to talk to men right now for 2 seconds. The power you have and the love you'll receive if you admit you're wrong will blow your mind if it's your spouse, how your wife will respond as a result. The offense will no longer be as offensive if you fully apologize and admit that you're wrong. And I'm talking to myself at the same time, trust me, but for some odd reason, I really see a lot more women that I talk to where the men don't admit they're wrong and they are just crushed because our hearts are tender. We might have a hard outside and I have a really bold, personality, but on the inside, I'm mush. I'm soft. I love to be loved. And so many women are like me like that. Most of us are. That's how God wired us. So men, you will reap massive benefits if you admit you're wrong. It doesn't mean that you're saying you're a failure and you don't have to play the victim. I just got to put those in there because I'm hearing a lot of women tell me what you're addressing, which now I'm just going to buy a whole box of your books and pass them out to everybody. Okay, so proceed with the last three. Sorry about that.
All right. Well, no, it's very well said, and it's an important point. And then moving on to our third apology language, this is making amends or making restitution. So here we've moved to the present situation, and we're saying, I'm going to make you whole again, and here's what I'm going to do. And so if you think of customer service, that's a common example where they're going to give us a gift card or give us a discount, or if someone stains something, they're going to send it off to be cleaned. And so we need to think about how do we do that in our personal relationships and also in the workplace. If I mess up your project, I'm not going to just keep going with my work, but I need to help get you back to the place where you were before I mess things up.
So good. And then the relationship building process of going deeper together are just phenomenal. So much better than before the bomb took place. Okay, proceed. I love where you're rolling with this.
Okay, and then we're moving towards the future. So our fourth apology language is preventing a reoccurrence. And here we also call it planned change. So you're going to say to them, this is what I'm going to do to prevent this from happening again. And Tina, your applause makes me think that this might be your primary or secondary apology language.
This is my primary. I don't even know what your fifth one is yet. This is it. Let's see change, people. Change.
Exactly. And, some people will say my apology language is one of the first couple about being specific about the problem. And to them, they're going to be satisfied if you just stop there. But other people like you, Tina, this is the perfect example. They're going to be thinking, and give me some more here because I want to know that we're not going to wind up here next week. I'm a forgiving person. I already forgave you for this problem once or twice, but I'm about to lose my patience. So here we have a whole chapter on how people need to let you know specifically how they're going to head off the problem going forward.
This is so good. I'm afraid to know what your fifth apology language is because I was yes for number 4.
Okay. Our fifth one is actually the least common of all in terms of people expecting it. But we find that the people who want it really want it. And so what it is asking for forgiveness. So looking towards the future still, what we want them to do is to say, I know I can't expect your forgiveness right now, but down the road, if you could find it in your heart to forgive me, I'd be so grateful. And this one can be very hard for people to ask because in a way it's like getting down on bended knee and you're putting the control about the future of the relationship in the hands of the other person.
Okay, but you saying that the way you say it, I've got to be more gentle sometimes in my approach because I would want to be your best friend for life if someone came up to me and wronged me, but then said, I know it might not be right now, but would you forgive me in the future when you're ready? I'd be like, I forgive you now. Oh my gosh, I love you. I would be like, you're my best friend for life. Yes, you validate my feelings. You see that I've been wronged. You apologize for it. There's no excuses. You're not playing the victim. you're going on speed dial in my phone. Let's go to lunch. That's where I'm at.
That's great. That really works for you.
Yes, I love people that are like that when they're humble, because then I love my friends and family. That's all. I love people that are like what you just expressed. They are phenomenal. That's what Jesus would do. But Jesus didn't have to ask for forgiveness. But I mean, he would be that loving in what you just said. Here, this was so good at taking our time going through these 5 apology languages. I know people are going to be like, I'm sending this to my brother, my nephew, my daughter, my husband. A lot of times someone may say, I'm sorry, but the person receiving the apology doubts its sincerity. How can a person be confident an apology is actually sincere? Hook them up to a lie detector test?
Well, what we say is we can't judge the hearts of other people. We can't know for sure. There's a lot to be said for a lie detector test. Don't we wish we had that? And also promises that people wouldn't betray our trust again.
Right.
But the simple answer is there are no guarantees. We can't know other people's hearts. I advise people to look at actions. Don't always believe the words alone. Look for real change.
We're going to commercial round number 2, support our sponsors, and then back with Jennifer on her fantastic resources that I know you're like dying to get your hands on. So we'll talk about that and more right after this.
Have you ever wanted to start a charity or ministry? Launching a nonprofit can be time-consuming, expensive, and overwhelming. If you have a vision and mission, but don't know where to start or how to raise donations, Capstone Legacy Foundation is your solution. Their ministry charity project allows you to receive tax-free donations without the expense and hassle of forming your own 501c3, and in less than 48 hours. This ministry partnership fund is exactly how Counterculture Ministries got its start, and we grew quickly. Capstone Legacy Foundation handles all your legal and accounting paperwork, allowing you time to develop the ministry and message God gave you. Call Capstone today at 610-688-8890 or check out capstonelegacy.org for more information. And tell them Tina sent you. Partner with Capstone Legacy Foundation to transform our culture for Christ and get your nonprofit started today.
I am passionate about my health and taking care of myself and my family. One company that I'm very excited to partner with is Ascent Nutrition. They provide holistic nutritional supplements for us and our pets. And they have the most incredible organic, mold and mycotoxin-free coffee on the planet. Their pine needle extract includes wild harvested pine needles, which improves immunity and brain function. I'm also using their humic and fulvic acid, which binds to heavy metals, supporting detoxification and increases my energy level. Their pine pollen tincture is a great support for libido and hormone health. And they have the cleanest source of omega-3s in their algae oil DHA, which is essential, especially for us moms and our kids. Head to goascentnutrition.com/Tina and use code Tina at checkout to save 10% off on your entire order. That code can be shared with others, so spread the word. 10% off using code Tina at goascentnutrition.com/Tina. Let's get our body back on track together. Jennifer, before we dig in deep to your book, which I know everybody's going to be wanting to buy it by the caseload at this point, can you tell us why it's so hard for some people to admit when they're wrong?
Well, some of us grew up in families where we were told not just you did something wrong, but you are bad, or you should be ashamed of yourself. There was, it can go as extreme as emotional abuse. And so if people were berated or belittled, then it can be very hard for them to do anything but kind of puff themselves up in response to criticism. But we do believe that old dogs can learn new tricks, and we have practical examples to help people learn to start off with simple apologies and build up to using all 5 of our apology languages.
You rock. We got to clone you and get you in every house in America. Absolutely fantastic. You have your book. Once again, you'll want to grab a copy or several copies, like I said, of Jennifer's book, The 5 Apology Languages, The Secret to Healthy Relationships, people. Let's get our America back on track and our families back on track. Jennifer, your website, we got to check out your blog and your relationship-saving resources. Your website is drjenniferthomas.com, drjenniferthomas.com. What can we find there on your fantastic website?
That's right. I've got a blog with relationship advice, and a theme that I have there is what to say when challenging conversations arise. So I have a lot of scenarios for both home and the workplace with practical advice and real dialogue.
Watch all 4 episodes this week as we talk about forgiveness. This will blow your mind. Let me tell you something. The puzzle pieces coming together once again. Go to counterculturemom.com, watch these episodes, share them with the masses, tag us in it. You rock, keep at it. You are saving relationships at work, at home, with children, spouses, everywhere, all over. You're a lifesaver, Jennifer. Keep up the excellent work.